Okay, so now talks have started apparently. There is an interest from Bayern Munich for Ten Hag to be the manager of Bayern Munich next season. 3 rejections for the German Giants, and now Ten Hag is on the list. Could we actually possibly see a full-on managerial swap situation in the summer? Tuchel won't talk to Manchester United until the Champions League is put to bed, but it has been reported by Christian Folk that Tuchel definitely wants the Manchester United job if available, and Ten Hag leaves his post there. Ten Hag has also been talking to Gary Neville and Sky Sports about the situations in the transfer windows, his failings, what he did want, what would have been different at the club if certain 2 players in particular were brought into Manchester United. Rashford is due for crunch talks with INEOS and Sir David Brailsford, apparently according to the Sun newspaper, and it's a lot more ever-changing situation talks regarding Bruno Fernandez as well. We've got all of that to talk about, guys, in the show today. Get your comments in on the live section now. Make sure you please do give the video a like if you're loving the content. And if you are loving the content, you might as well hit that subscribe button as well, people. I'm Adam. This is Forever United TV. It's Friday, and I think we can officially say, with it being Friday afternoon, guys, the bank holiday here in England has officially started. Let me know what the weather's like wherever you are. It's a bit murky around here at the moment, and not too pretty, I would say. But hey, we live in hope. It is Manchester. It is England. Bank holiday usually does mean rain, but let me know how you're getting on, everyone. Anyway, let's get into what is going on with Manchester United, first of all. Welcome along, everyone. First of all, thank you to Jordan for donating them 2 memberships already before the show even started. They have gone to Ewan and to Grebo. Welcome to the Members Club, my friends. You are more than welcome, and now officially are FUTV legends. Akash has come straight in with a super chat as well on the show, which says, fair to assume Erik ten Hag staying after that interview. Well, I don't think so. This is right. Okay, I mean, should we start with the interview? I mean, I think it's only fair with Akash going in there with the super chat. I think we'll start there with what was said with Gary Neville and Erik ten Hag. Now, this for me, everything that's been said, everything that he's talking about, the future, and all the journalists have gone in on this. The journalists report everything that goes on at the football club. They're reporting on what Ten Hag has said in this interview with Gary Neville. He's opened up a little bit more on the situations that have happened over his 2 years at Manchester United, particularly the transfer windows. This is, for me, this is like a full charm offensive. Manchester United are putting Erik ten Hag out there right now and just showing everyone that he has got capabilities. There are reasons behind why he has failed at the football club. And no coincidence, all of these stories and these good vibes about Erik ten Hag and everything that he has been against him and the club have failed him on, and he might have done better if he did have this given to him, is after everybody has left. Did anyone pick up on that? Did anyone pick up on the fact that the club now have let Sky in and done an interview about the failings and what might have happened and who he wanted and who he didn't get in transfer windows, now that Arnold, Woodward, Murto, Judd, everybody who was in that regime above Ten Hag when he first came in, and the chaos that was them 2 transfer windows the last 2 summers has gone. And now an interview comes out a couple of days later. Coincidence? I'm not trying to dig myself a hole here. I'm not trying to make this look like a negative at all, but I just feel like the club is spinning it a little bit. And this may actually be a spin to big up Ten Hag, to keep Ten Hag as a manager of Manchester United. I just feel like there are capabilities there with Ten Hag. If Bayern Munich want him, then you know he's got something about him. Obviously, he had his time. I think what was it? I think it was 2015-17. He was managing Bayern Munich's B team anyway. So he's got a history with Bayern Munich. He's been there before. So Christian Folk talking about Erik ten Hag and him now being looked at by the German Giants is a no-brainer, really. They are going down a list right now which is constantly failing. So they don't want to keep Thomas Tuchel. Nagelsmann has turned them down. Obviously, Xabi Alonso decided to stay at Bayer Leverkusen, and now Ralf Rangnick, citing personal terms, has also said that he doesn't want to take the job at Bayern Munich. So who's next? I think Bayern Munich right now, I mean, I wouldn't say they're in a worse position than Manchester United, but in terms of getting a bit of a slap in the face and a shock to the system, Bayern Munich failing with 3 managers and being rejected 3 times with the setup that they've got there and everything that they've got at their disposal, you've got to look at that as that is a team there and a football club which has sort of hit a limit and a bit of a brick wall going on right now. Whatever's happening above the managers at Bayern Munich is clearly not working It's not working alongside the managers. And for big names, and you're talking here, like you're talking 3 Germans in that conversation there. A manager that's obviously Spanish in Alonso, but he's working in Germany, knows the Bundesliga, all turning down Bayern Munich. Like, if this was anyone else from abroad, if they was picking another manager out from, say, the Serie A or La Liga, I think they would be probably more interested in the job at Bayern Munich. But people who are in the know on what's happening at Bayern Munich are not as keen on that Bayern Munich job. So what does that tell you about Thomas Tuchel and his time there? Did they jump the gun a little bit too soon there? Maybe the fans are realising how the club is being run and are not happy, hence the petition to try and keep Thomas Tuchel as manager at Bayern Munich. So, in balancing out the argument between Ten Hag and Thomas Tuchel, I think we're in a bit of a tug of war here with the managerial situation with both clubs right now. Like Manchester United are on the charm offensive, where Bayern Munich are out, get out the bleeding door. We're going to want someone else, but that's backfired on them already with no one wanting the job. Ten Hag must have been 4th, 5th on the list, even more so, I think. With Bayern Munich and their selection process. Like, the reason I feel like Ten Hag is being talked about is because of the possibility that he will be leaving Manchester United, and he has worked with Bayern Munich before. I personally cannot see this happening. Like, I'm still like, it's like conflicting opinions and reports right now regarding Ten Hag. Everyone has sort of fallen for this charm offensive interview with Gary Neville and what Ten Hag missed out on. That's fair enough, it is. And you know what? I think he did get... he wasn't so much shafted. He didn't get a fair crack of the whip when it came to transfer windows, let's say. I mean, he got a lot of money spent on him, but it was just out of pure desperation to try and make Ten Hag's appointment look like a good one from the hierarchy at the time for me. Like, the fact that we went overspending on everyone, like agreeing a fee for 80 million for Frankie de Jong, and then not getting him. Ten Hag in his interview with Gary Neville was actually talking about how Frankie de Jong was a player that would have helped Manchester United play that certain Ajax way. He was the linchpin. He was everything. He was the one that held everything together for Ajax. And if he wanted to play a certain style, Ten Hag, that's why he would have gone for him. That's why he wanted him. And it would have matched up perfectly, in Ten Hag's words. De Jong in there, it just would have made what he had at United at the time and the players that he was bringing in work a lot better. Now, what was that telling you about other players at the club at the time? Would that have meant the end of Bruno Fernandez and that style of football? This is what you start thinking about with everything, isn't it? It's and like what might have happened with Ten Hag if he got the players that he wanted. Like, obviously, if every single manager got the players that he wanted at Manchester United, we probably wouldn't even be talking about Ten Hag. Ten Hag probably wouldn't have been the manager of Manchester United because it would have moved along and everyone probably would have survived longer. It's like, if you'd have said to Mourinho, right, okay, like, we've got you Lukaku, there you go. He also wanted Virgil van Dijk. We got him Lindelof, so Virgil van Dijk would have been in there. He would have had Harry Maguire a lot cheaper in there as well, and that might have worked better for us at the time. Maguire was younger and was, I'm not saying a better player when he was younger, but do you know what I mean? He was a lot fresher. And could have worked out better for Mourinho. Perisic would have worked better for his system. Like, there was a lot of players that he wanted. Like Kroos coming in for David Moyes. Players like this. Like, everyone that was sort of linked with the former Manchester United players before. So, it's not just Ten Hag. So, let's just balance it out as an overall in this. And let's not just fall into the trap of this, let's feel sorry for Ten Hag situation. Let's feel sorry for every single Manchester United manager as well as Ten Hag, because United was so inept in transfer windows every single summer. When it mattered and the manager needed backing, they didn't get the players that they wanted. None of them. Yes, Ten Hag wanted Martinez. That was his signing. Got him. He wanted Ronaldo. God, no, he didn't want Ronaldo. Said that one wrong, didn't I? He wanted Antony on the wing. Why am I even thinking of Antony when it comes to Ronaldo? Sorry. I do apologise. He wanted Antony. The club should have got him cheaper. They didn't. They overspent because we thought we were better and we tried to be clever in the window and we left it too late. And then Ajax just, like Edwin van der Sar said after an interview after he'd left, was we took Manchester United to the cleaners because we knew we could. We ripped them off. We went out and we deliberately said we're going to get as much as we possibly can out of them now because they didn't agree to the first deal and they've left it too late. And now they're taking the mick. We're just going to absolutely rinse them. That was United at the time. So Ten Hag, he also talked about wanting Harry Kane at the football club. And yet we know that would have changed everything. We know that Harry Kane is guaranteed goals. A lot of people would still argue, like, look, we haven't got a system of play that Harry Kane's going to work with. I mean, honestly, you look at Harry Kane for Spurs, he just got goals out of anything. He's a machine, an absolute machine, the best that there is. If you've got that player in your team, then everything is looking a lot different, I feel. I think United's goals would have been up over the last 2 seasons. I think with Harry Kane in this side, I do believe that we would have got more goals. I do, because I don't think Rashford would have been playing right now at all. I think it would have been a case of I can say that. I'm guessing there because the situation with Sancho might have been different. If we had Harry Kane, and we know how Harry Kane works, he works off the delivery, he works off players crossing the ball, he works off working headers. System, he drops up. I mean, there's so many ways that Harry Kane plays that are different to Rasmus Højlund. He's more complete. It may have been a different scenario with Jadon Sancho. You just don't know. You don't know what Ten Hag's plans were. I'm just trying to make a defence for it there and say it would have been better, but I'm also trying to balance it by saying, look, it's all if, buts and maybes. There's no guarantee that Harry Kane would have worked better. There's no guarantee if Frenkie de Jong came to Manchester United, it would have worked better. It's all if, buts and maybes constantly with United, and it's always a bit of an excuse. And then everyone has fallen into the trap, it would seem, of like going down the road of saying, oh, it definitely looks like he had a raw deal there, and we might have seen more of Ten Hag. Let's keep him. I just feel like the club are testing the water again with this. Like putting this interview out, everyone is seeing a different side to Ten Hag again. So, yeah, I can... honestly, if you ask me right now, the way it's going, the conflicting reports, everyone's opinions in the media, the stories that are coming out, then we are we're stuck in the middle of, I think it's 50-50 with Ten Hag in terms of what the club decide to do. All of this talk, all of these interviews, everything about Ten Hag, the past, what might have been, what players could have been at Manchester United, the way that the club was run, everything like that have all come in the middle of a week where Manchester United are not playing football. If Manchester United go out and get embarrassed by Crystal Palace on Monday, not one person is going to come to me in the chat and start thinking like this. It will just come back and it will just remind you, and this is what happens in football. I fall for it. I'm a football fan. All football fans are the same. It's like when you're not playing, you start thinking of things that could have been and what might have worked and try and build yourself up into a more of a confident frame of mind and a more positive one. Like next time we can do this and that. And these players have got this because they've done this before. And then these players go out and show you exactly what they're made of and how much they really are invested into the direction of what the manager wants to go in, which is nowhere near it, and really couldn't give 2 flying F-bombs about the manager. And then you go, why was I so stupid? Why was he even thinking like this? Games and the eye test. All I'm telling you is take it in, suck it in, remember it. Remember what he said. It's fair enough. You can give him his dues. You can sort of forgive him for certain players not arriving and sort of balance that in any sort of argument or debate. But don't forget what happens on the pitch. Not being able to pass a ball or know where a player's going. Like, is it just me or does the injury setup? And he's talking in this interview as well, Ten Hag, about left-footed centre-backs to balance, being able to build from the back. Like, you have just let go of so many forwards and we're not scoring goals. So where does that come into the equation in the whole argument as well? Everything just needs to be put in perspective, I feel, with what's going on at Manchester United. It's like, does everybody go to training? Does the whole squad train the same way? Ten Hag says he has built the youth team up and made an environment for players like Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo to come through and play in. Right, okay, so if they're playing that way and they're being built up that way, then he would have built up the first team and the first team squad to play that way as well. So it's all right, you cannot just say, look, the first team play this way and then the reserves play another way and then that's why we can't play football because they're not used to playing it. No. The youth team play a certain way, the first team play a certain way, the first team squad play a certain way. So when everyone goes out at Carrington, everyone trains exactly the same way. So they all know what the plan is. So if one player comes out, this is how Premier League clubs work, I'm pretty certain of it. Like, they don't train the first team one way and then everyone else doesn't. Like, the full squad trains the system and knows exactly what to do when they come in. So when Manchester United have players missing, we have other players to come in. They've all trained and looked into the methods of Ten Hag. Are you just saying then them players are just not good enough to carry out your instruction, Erik? Because that's what I have to look at as well in this, in trying to middle this debate out a little bit here. Because they're coming in, they should know exactly what they're doing, but they don't look like they know what they're doing. It doesn't look like the players on the pitch have got an idea from the start. The passing is off, and it doesn't look like they know where to be. How can there be so many gaps in midfield and that be brought up constantly and constantly and constantly by every single pundit under the sun? This is where it doesn't balance out for Ten Hag in the argument. And yes, you can swing the narrative and the agenda for Ten Hag in the favour of, like, if you had better players there, it would have been. Every team with better players is going to play better than what they are. But surely there's a basis of a system that's in place that them players know how to play. It just doesn't look like there is one right now. And I think that's how you have to look at the whole interview with Gary Neville. I feel sorry for Ten Hag in the way that United have run behind the scenes, but I have to say I feel sorry for all of the other managers before as well. It's not just about Ten Hag. Like, the club have really backed Ten Hag in a way that other managers at Manchester United haven't been backed. You need to remember that. It's like player power. Like, Jose Mourinho wanted to get rid of Anthony Martial. Jose Mourinho wanted this type of player. Like, Perisic wasn't there. It was an easy buy for United. It was set up perfectly. But no, Jose was the bad one. Jose got fired and Pogba stayed. Player power won on that one. Ten Hag has had a lot more than a lot of the other managers before. Let's not forget that as well in this argument, because he was backed with Ronaldo, a club legend. Like, I guarantee if it was the old regime and Woodward was there and this player power situation was the way it was, I think Ten Hag would have been outed that last season, I do. Like, it's crazy to think it, and it's a big opinion, I know, but I think Ten Hag would have been shafted and gone last season with Ronaldo and that situation there. That's what have happened before. That's what's happened to other managers before. You've seen it with him. You listen to what Louis van Gaal said, like, in terms of Manchester United never giving him the players that he wants, bringing in players that just fit a profile of a commercial, revenue-driven type of player. This is all of the problems that the other managers had, and they've all had pretty much a similar amount of money spent on them as what Ten Hag has. Well, Ten Hag has had a lot more backing when it comes to the club. That, to be fairness to Arnold and Murto in one way, and like I said, I like to give both sides again, they did try and change the culture of the football club with Ten Hag. They did. And it's just not worked. In doing so and changing the culture, they have worked well in outing a lot of the bad eggs, but in the process have left Ten Hag with nothing to work with mentality-wise on the pitch. Like, if the player was happy before, you might get a few more better results out of it. But when the player starts being put in his place a bit more and his culture starts taking over rather than the focus being on what's happening on the pitch, then, yeah, that's when you get the problem. And Ten Hag, I think, has had more backing than any other manager before him in that side of things. So I think we have to look at that as well, and I think that has to be brought into the argument. Jordan Hall with a super chat says he's blaming getting shit players, demoted players. He's blaming a lot of what he's right in saying there was a lot wrong with Manchester United, and he should have Manchester United that we know should have been getting Ten Hag the players that he wanted. Please give the video a like, guys. We're almost at the 100 like mark. If everyone in the chat right now can give that video a like, thank you very much. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as well if you are tuning in for the first time. This is Forever United TV. We had just gone over the situation with Tuchel and Ten Hag and everything that's gone on in Ten Hag's his interview with Gary Neville after the press conference, actually, which is a lot of Ten Hag to take while there's no football going on. And I think, like, the verdict we've come to really is that he's come out of the press conference recently and the interview with Gary Neville quite well. And the club have done well in sort of pushing that out there and pushing that sort of narrative that Ten Hag has been hard done to before. It's easy to do that, like I said, when everyone that was in the old regime has now gone. And no coincidence that this interview came out now. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget the backing that Ten Hag has had by the club in a lot of other awkward situations, like Ronaldo, like Sancho. The culture change within the club. He's had all that backing from the club. He's had as much money as other managers have had as well before. So it's not just Ten Hag. It's a lot of the other managers that have been shafted by this club. So Ten Hag is in a position now where change is about to happen, and he might get away with it and hang on longer than any of the others. But INEOS have still got to put their full trust and give him a new 3-year contract at the start of this season if they want to keep him. Because his head will be going elsewhere without that contract extension. And then how committed is he to Manchester United and these players that are coming in? Is he really going to look at that and go, because his agent will be telling him, like, whoa, like, hang on a minute, like, why are they not giving you a contract when you've got less than 1 year to run starting this season with all this project in mind? It's like, are you just going to be a bit part player? That's what Ten Hag's agent's going to be telling him. So look at that in which way you want. That's just my angle on that. I'm going to get into the chat and see what you guys are saying now. If I'm not mistaken, Noah Lang was the youngest player to score for Ajax and considered one of the best talent coming out of their academy. But he is big-headed. He's big-headed. Ten Hag shipped him out. Publicly slaughtered him on the pitch, if I can remember as well. Let me just see what now we've got in here. Sorry, bear with me a second, guys. Just going through your comments. It's a long-term project. United fans must be patient. No matter who is in charge at the start of the season, we are going to have to be on board with it. We have to be. And we have to be fully patient in the INEOS project. Boxing Straight Talk. It's not most pundits that can see he's not setting up correctly. It's now 70% of the fan base. We know that our team is inept. Yeah, sadly. Patience is key. It's going to take time for the turnover, for the rebuild to bear fruit. He said 3 years. I said 5 years. Andrew Shaw, our midfield has been poor for some time, even with Casemiro playing well last season. 420 million on Tosh. Ten Hag has actually set us back 3 years trying to get rid of his Tosh. Boxing Straight Talk says Madhouse talk Martial to score cup winner and then sold for 40 million. Ten Hag's going nowhere, guys, says Alan. Let's be honest, Gary not exactly going to be hard hitting. Feel like it's a way to keep him 1 more year until contract done. I just like I just explained there, from Ten Hag's side of things, is he that desperate to go into the last year of his contract without any other deal on the table? Like, obviously a deal can be drawn out at the if it's going well next season, like a few months in, Ten Hag's doing okay, then you can make another deal there and you can sort of draw out a new contract. But let's be honest, like, he's going into this summer with a full plan, apparently, with INEOS and the new recruitment structure that's going to be in there, and he is in no way in the know about what's going to happen to his future after that season. Like, the big plan is now, like, Ten Hag's future, he's looking at these players, he needs to get rid of these players, so he's looking past this season, because he's going to be buying a certain profile of player that's going to mature. He was talking in this interview about Rasmus Højlund. We will see the best of him. Will Ten Hag see the best of Rasmus Højlund? That's the question you've got to ask, and with no contract on the table, Ten Hag's side of things must be looking at this and going, hang on a minute, like, I could be doing all the work here next season for someone else to come in and just benefit from what I've done. Like, I know you may laugh at that, Ten Hag outers and people who don't rate him, but just looking at it from Ten Hag's side of things, that's how he must be thinking as well. Surely, there must be a part of him that's going, hang on a minute, I'm being used as a bit of a pawn here in this. Like, I feel like I've not had the right players that I wanted in these windows. I've been talking about this in the interview, and now I'm being used this summer just to get everything ready for the next guy. I don't know. Like, you think of it what you want, but surely that must be going through Ten Hag's representatives as well. Like, they must be telling their client, like, let's just play safe here and be careful. Thank you for the likes, guys. Creeping up to the 150 mark. Let's keep them going, everyone. United Spotlight. Even if INEOS want to keep him, his results will get him sacked at... I don't know what that is. At this rate, sorry. This will sack himself regardless. He will sack himself regardless what they want. Best in class, Alonso. Next, Fergie, says Jack. Verbalkint says... no need to shout, mate. I think we are all aware of your position, Erik ten Hag. He's talking to Boxing Straight Talk on that one, actually, not me. It's all right, Verbal. I got you. It's good that you guys are having little debates within the chat as well while we're going on. This is what it's all about. And then I try and jump in and interrupt you all. Sorry. 2 years, 400 million spent, and no progression. He's had his chance and failed miserably, says Breach. Quite straightforward and to the point. Stephen says Hag will get a golden handshake at Christmas unless he gets results. Erik ten Hag will only succeed with the right recruitment. However, his incessant picking the same underperformers, I see no wins this season. Sad times. It's like even with the charm offensive, like people are not falling for it, and everyone looks at it differently. Like a lot of people will be taken in by that interview. I'm not. It's a fair interview. I think he makes some good points. I think he has been, like we've said, unlucky in transfer windows that he's got such a crap team ahead of him. But it's all right him talking now, isn't it? Now everyone's left, and it's all right the club allowing us to go out now. All of them people have left. And maybe they are just trying to swing it in a way that everyone starts to think that with the Dan Ashworth, the Wilcox, Omar Barado, Jean-Claude Blanc, and all these people above him now, Ten Hag, we are going to see the real Ten Hag in this. And I think that's what they're hoping to get from this more than anything. That's how I see it anyway. And I'm definitely looking at it as the no coincidence that this is all being talked about now after the new regime is pretty much in. And there's a lot of journalists going on about what Ten Hag said about the stupidness and how it's a load of crap, absolute crap, like we talked about yesterday after the press conference about how the squad's going to be dissected this summer. Like literally, that's there. Ten Hag's voice still ringing in everyone's ears from the press conference. The next day, the media, Bruno Fernandez. Linked with Barcelona. And INEOS, after their audit, apparently, by a lot of journalists that I know are there week in, week out at Manchester United, and it's not the obvious ones either that I'm talking about here, journalist-wise, guys. It's a lot of the ones that don't say that we don't know about, that are not on the big hitting stage. They're talking in the same way here that Bruno Fernandez is looked at as one of them players under the new structure at this stage now would be leaving Manchester United. So say, for instance, everything's in place. 3 years down the line, United are comfortably in the top four, competing, and Bruno Fernandez gets to the stage of where he is now. In that era, he would be off. He would have been sold for money because there is no sell-on value, and this is how a proper football club is run. And this is why they have brought in their own chief financial officer, and they are running everything football-wise financially as well. INEOS, that is. Because to make sure that you get the best on the pitch, you have to make sure the financial side of the football part of the club runs alongside it. Bruno Fernandez, you've had the best of. Guaranteed, thank you, done. This is in INEOS's eyes, this. Right now, I don't think we can get rid of Bruno Fernandez. There's too much to do. But what I'm saying is, in a normal world, 3 years down the line, INEOS have got their feet well and truly under the table. The system is in full flow. Bruno Fernandez at this stage, if it was 3 years down the line, at 29, 2 years left in his contract, Bruno Fernandez would have been sold by Manchester United. That's how I feel it would be. That's how Manchester City operate and work. Yes, right now they have got winners, and the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and these players coming to a certain age at the football club is a difference now. When you're winning trebles and doubles and constantly winning league titles, it's a bit different. It is. I think United have got a long way to go to get to that stage, and then you can look at players a bit differently. But where we're at right now, you have to be able to work the system, and I just think that's why this talk of Bruno Fernandes is happening. I think they would sell Bruno Fernandes if the offer came in. They would sell him, and it talks about Barcelona actually being interested in Bruno, and some would even say that there is talks of make-weight deals and cash plus player for i.e. Bruno Fernandez for Frankie de Jong type situation. That's what's being talked about as well within media circles. Thomas Mercado with a super chat. Thank you, Thomas. Give Ten Hag a season when this change is in. It won't take a season. I keep saying this. People think that managers are just going to play out a year with no future guarantee. It doesn't work that way. Managers need that contract situation sorting as well. Like, it's impossible for a manager to plan a future if he doesn't know if he's going to last a season. Like, where is his head at in this summer? How committed is he knowing that he's going to be gone? Like, I'm doing all this work, I'm putting all this effort into these young players right now, bringing this culture through for Manchester United's youth team, bringing in young players, getting the best out of Rasmus Højlund, turning them into the new Harry Kane, like Ten Hag says. But at the end of the season, I'm gone. Then, like, no matter who you are mentally, like, you're thinking in a different way altogether there. That does not work. And us all saying that Ten Hag can do this and can do that. What about Ten Hag and what he thinks? Where is his head at? Is he like, I don't want to be part of this if I'm not getting full commitment from Manchester United? You have to look at it from both sides. And just to be honest, if you're in this situation right now, and INEOS are saying we're going into this season with you, Erik, you've got to ask the question back. What about the future past this? Like, my contract runs out at the end. Like, my family are in Manchester. Everyone's settled. Like, these conversations start happening as well. So you cannot forget, like, we all want a situation handling as fans. That's fine. There's no pressure on us for that. We just demand that our money is well spent. That's what we want as fans. We want reward for the amount that we put into our football club, like any fan does. But the manager side of thing and the footballer side of it, it's a different world altogether. And we sometimes just have to take a step back and go, yeah, what about Erik? What about his life right now? And what about what he wants? Like, everyone must say he's well looked after financially. It's not even a problem, or it's not even an issue for us to worry about. He's going to be fine in the real world. It doesn't work like that, does it? It doesn't. Everyone spends to the means and everyone lives their life to what they have. And I think Ten Hag right now, I think he's worrying as well. Like, he's panicking because he might get the sack, but if he gets the thumbs up, it might be worse off financially and security-wise for him staying at Manchester United for one more year. So I just wanted to sort of bring that in as well. Like, as much as we want the situation sorted, I'm sure Ten Hag does as well for his own side. So I just think you just need to be aware of it. Give Glazers 10 million, then bald fraud for being shit. Give Glazers 10 million, then bald fraud. I don't know what that means. Like, Jordan, does that mean that just pay Ten Hag off? I'm not sure. Let's see from some more of your comments. Gehen says, I believe we can sell Bruno now and replace him with much better. We need to make that sacrifice in order to improve. Please sell him. Like, let's not forget about 25 plus goal contributions that Bruno Fernandez brings. If you're going to sell him, you need to get upwards of 70 million for Bruno Fernandez to replace him. Now, I've said he's probably worth about 60, but you're comfortable with that if you've got someone else coming through. But who? Who comes in and does Bruno's roles to that number? Are you going to trust Mason Mount with his injury record? We've already spent 60 million on him and got nothing out of him. Yeah, fair enough. He doesn't fit in at the moment because Bruno's there in that position. If Mason Mount's given a chance, fair enough. But we said that with Martinez. It's great if Martinez is fit, but he's not fit. And there's two players there that you could say would change our team. But we can't guarantee that they're going to be playing all bleeding season. That's the concern that you've got, I think, in all of this. And I think that's what we have to look at. Ramos saying Bruno out, Barella in. De Jong, good option. I would prefer Musiala. Good player as well. Frank Davison says, I don't think it's much work. You already have Mount to fill in. Just said then, Mount to fill in. If he's fit, mate. Like, he's been here a year and hardly available the whole season. He missed 3 or 4 months of last season as well. He's clearly got problems injury-wise. Can you bank on it? No. You have to get a replacement in if you sell Bruno Fernandez. You have to buy someone else. Like, if you're saying to me that Frankie de Jong is coming in as a make-weight and as a swap and a deal's made for Bruno Fernandez, that there changes everything. That changes everything. Sorry with that, Jordan, mate. I wasn't saying it wasn't clear. I like just a little bit of an explanation as to what you meant by it, mate. That's all. But thanks for the super chat, mate. I'm not having a go or anything. Erik ten Hag, if he stays, gets a contract, we either commit or get rid. I totally agree, says United Spotlight. It is like, it's not like see out one more year. This is full commitment decision time for Ten Hag. The club back him, and they back him with a contract, or we get rid of him. It's as simple as that. Like, there's no other way I don't think INEOS can work, because if you bring another manager in after a year, that 3-year plan goes out of the window. You're changing everything and giving another guy another year to settle in, and by that time, you're 2/3 of the way through the promise that you made to the fans in that big interview. That's Sir Jim Ratcliffe, that is. So that's why, like I've said, like United Spotlight said there as well, it's full-on like commitment to Ten Hag right now. What else did you expect Ten Hag to say in that interview? Nothing. Like, I'm not saying he said anything wrong. He's answered the question that Gary Neville put to him. But let's not forget, them questions would have been premeditated and organised by the club to say. So I feel like it's been manipulated in a way that makes Ten Hag look good. Now, there's no issue with that. I'm not saying that's wrong. Like, we've got a manager there that's literally hanging on by a thread, and the club have tried to get behind him in this interview, I feel. And that's the club's way of looking at it. That's their prerogative to try and do that. So I've got no issue with that at all. I've got nothing at all wrong with that interview that Erik ten Hag's made. It's brought to light a lot of the issues that were there before. I'm just saying, like, it's only happened because all of the issues have gone, i.e. the regime that was ahead of Ten Hag, that we're talking about the mistakes we're making in all of these windows, is no longer there. And that's easy to talk about because, well, they're not there. It's always easier to slag someone off if they're not there, isn't it? What else have we got here? The manager is the manager until he isn't. End of. Well said, Stephanie. Straight to the point. Mount needs to play regular again to get to his strength and fitness. He is just that kind of playoff. I know, Frank, but he's not fit. Ten Hag won't risk him. That's the problem. I can't remember a game he started. I can't remember the last game he started. When was the last time Mason Mount played 90 minutes? That should be concerning enough. Another player needed. Is Mount/Eriksen enough cover if Bruno is sold? Definitely not, Jonathan. 100% no. Because let's not forget, Eriksen's going to be gone this summer. I think he's definitely out the door. So already we're looking at a player that needs replacing there squad-wise. It's a tough one. Now, let him use the season as a job advert. Plus, get Dan in and get recruitment and scouting to going. Then bring a manager in to coach, not manage. I don't know. I don't think you can risk that, Jordan. I don't think you can. You cannot risk that in just giving a manager a year. The players have got to build that relationship and understanding with him. Then the players have got to reset and go again with another manager. Like, I think the players need security in this as well. Like, they would like to know like what's happening at the football club. Because there's all this talk about the players being outed. Maybe they've got a side of things that's saying, well, we're not happy with the manager. So there's two sides to it. There's two different arguments, isn't there? It's like if the players have got to commit to Ten Hag for one season, knowing that he's gone the next season, then they could be playing in a certain position and be happy about that. And then all of a sudden, a new manager comes in who's not quite keen on him, and out he goes. So that disrupts the players again, and it just makes that 1 year of just give Ten Hag one more year and let's see what he does. That just makes that a bit more chaotic, and I think he's just fruitless, completely fruitless. It's not good for Manchester United. Back him or sack him. 3-year contract for Erik ten Hag now, or another manager comes in. It's as simple as that. I see it that way. You guys get your comments in like you have been doing. You may disagree. But Marcus Rashford is also due to have crunch talks, apparently, according to Neil Custis from The Sun, with INEOS this week. They wouldn't be put off by a bid coming in for Rashford, and anything over 80 million will definitely be considered. It was 70 the other day, and here's the conflicting reports again that I was talking about earlier. One saying one saying another. But if a bid comes in for Rashford upwards of 70, I think the club will look at it. But they also want to know, apparently, why he has fallen off completely. Like, what's going on? Rashford was actually in a pub like round the corner from me yesterday. Crazy, I know. He wasn't drinking. We can guarantee that. He wasn't. It wasn't no long bender or anything like that. I think he was just meeting with his friends or some people, which he's allowed to do. Let's not forget that it's his free time. Like, as long as he's not doing anything stupid, that's all we're bothered about as fans. But yeah, it's crazy thinking that we're talking about him and he's literally 5 minutes away. But yeah, weird world. But in terms of the Rashford talk and what that conversation is going to go like with INEOS, I'm gathering the same as every other player's conversation. We can't treat one player differently than another. It's like, Marcus, where's your head at? Like, why have your standards fallen off? You've played a part in the demise of Manchester United's season, like every other player at this football club has. You have not fully been behind the manager because you wouldn't have had the ill disciplines that you've had this season. And we want to know why. What is going through your head? And will INEOS be convinced by one academy graduate who has made it at United in Rashford when talking about Ten Hag? Are they going to listen to the players over the manager is what I'm saying. Like, these conversations and one-on-ones with all of the players, are they important for INEOS to decide whether Erik Ten Hag is the right manager? Or are they just looking at the results and what they've watched on the pitch? They're gathering the mood and what's happening around Carrington, and by all accounts, that's all fine, hunky-dory, fantastic for everyone. But, hey, it's what happens on the pitch, like I said. And they know what's been going on the pitch. They've seen what's happened, and you can't ignore, or you can't unsee what you've seen Manchester United play like this season. It's been pitiful. It has. And it's like all of this positivity, and I'll finish on this, it's like, all the interviews, the press conferences, the bullish comments from Ten Hag, the get up and go, what I want, what's happened in the transfer window, but we've moved past it, going into this game and everything like that. And then United get beat by Crystal Palace and it just gets whoosh, flushed down the drain. See you later. And more pressure is hyped and heaped onto Erik Ten Hag's shoulders and he's pushing him further out the door. I'll keep saying it. It does not matter what happens at Carrington. All that matters when it comes to United is what happens on the pitch. That's the ultimate, that's everything, and that's what managers and players are judged on. No one really cares how a player trains. A player could be a crap trainer. He might not put in the amount of effort that one player does, and that player might be upset that he's not put that effort in. But if that player walks onto the pitch and blanks out all the pressure and mentality issues that a lot of other players have got and gets on with it and gives us the goods on the pitch, that's the player that the fans will be drawn to. That's the player that they know will work at Manchester United. It's not about how much work you put in that training. It's about handling being a Manchester United player. And when you walk out on that pitch, dealing with the mental side of things more, everyone is good enough. Every player comes to United because they've got them qualities. It's the same with every single club. But it's what's up here that counts more than anything. Can you handle the pressure? Can you implement your style of play and that confidence that you came to United with while wearing that shirt? And the manager's job is to try and convince that player that he is that character. If it starts failing, then the management side of things comes in. Is that where Ten Hag is falling down? The tactics and the style of play that he's talking about, that's all fine and good. But is he falling down as a man management type of player? Because without that, that doesn't work at United. It doesn't. You need to be able to handle the rest of the pressure that comes with being at Manchester United. And the manager has to look after the players differently. It's a different ball game. It's a different football club and a different world. Other managers do it better, but haven't got the tactic nous. That's why they bring in the best coaches. Sir Alex Ferguson. I'll just leave that with you and leave you with that thought there. But guys, absolute legends today. It's been an amazing show. Actually, I've got through quite a lot there. Your comments have been bang on. I've brought up plenty of them as well. Get your comments in after the video is finished as well, guys. Let me know what you think of all topics. What do you think to this swap deal? Rashford's crunch talks with INEOS. Does it matter? Would you sell Bruno Fernandez to Barcelona? If it meant getting Frankie de Jong, would you let Bruno Fernandez go? It's a big question for a lot of United fans, that. It is. And what do you reckon to Ten Hag's interview? Do you feel sorry for him even more that he wasn't backed with certain players in the transfer market or given more than what he's had already? Has he just come into United at the wrong time? That's the question. Answer that, guys. Thank you. And yes, everybody, I will see you all later on this evening for the 6:30 show. Make sure you're there. Make sure you give the video a like on the way out. We're creeping up to the 200 mark there, guys. Thank you for the super chats, the new members as well. Everybody, have a great day. The weekend starts now. It's bank holiday here, guys, in England. So enjoy the weekend. And don't forget, Manchester United cannot ruin the weekend because we play on Monday night and the weekend will have already finished. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Just go out there, have a good one. And